Minutes, President Trump filing a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and its parent companies and the former head of Fox News. The actual court document has not yet been made available to us. But all of this is over that Wall Street Journal report that he denies about a letter bearing his name and drawing of a naked woman gifted to Epstein for the late convicted sex offender's 50th birthday. According to documents reviewed by the Journal, the letter reads in part, "Happy birthday, and may every day be wonderful, a wonderful secret." The president denies writing the letter or making the drawing. That letter was among the documents reviewed by the Justice Department in its investigations into Epstein and his convicted colleague, Ghislaine Maxwell. It's not clear whether the letter is part of the Trump administration's recent review of the case. We should note NBC News has not independently verified the existence of the letter. All of it, though, as he faces pressure to release the so-called Epstein files. We know today that he has tasked his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, with the task of unsealing the grand jury testimony related to the case. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell outside the White House for us right now. Kelly, a lot of late-breaking news. This lawsuit now just coming in, and I know we've been able to look through it, but is this now fitting a pattern here about the president taking legal action against anybody who speaks in opposition to him or in any way raises media issues?
Well, to be candid with our audience, I have not seen the filing myself yet. Members of our team are going through that. What it does tell us, though, is the president is following through on a threat that he made. He had been in communication with Rupert Murdoch and certainly referenced publicly other officials from the company that owns the Wall Street Journal, and he has expressed his ire about this. He's denying the contents of a story that they have run. They, of course, have a strong conservative background and reputation, and being a media company that has seen many other media companies in the glare of the president's litigation, one can only assume that the Wall Street Journal, with its own counsel, prepared for this possibility. So that's one bucket of what's happening here. What could come of that, of course, is the defense, of course, is truth. So if there is an ability for the Wall Street Journal to demonstrate the capacity of its reporting, that would affect the course of this trial. It may also be an interesting thing to see if it gets to a discovery point where more of this information becomes public. So we've got a lot of work to do to go through that. In the broader context of how this day began, and here we are at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we still do not have a filing from the Department of Justice for the grand jury documents that the president said he was instructing the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to take action in this way, to ask the court, and it is subject to the court's review, to release certain Epstein-related grand jury transcripts. That is a very small part of the overall government possession of evidence, witness information, all the different components of what have been commonly referred to as Epstein files. This would be a narrow piece of that. We do not yet know about that motion, and we are awaiting to see when the DOJ will file it. And then again, the court gets to decide on its own time when it responds.
So, listen, whatever this grand jury testimony might include, the so-called Epstein files that some of the president's supporters have been clamoring to get released, the question is really, is this something totally different? What they have wanted released, what might be in the DOJ files versus the grand jury testimony?
So the grand jury would be a transcript of witnesses brought before the grand jury as prosecutors were seeking to get an indictment from the grand jury that was impaneled at the time. They do not bring all of their witnesses, and a transcript would not include the supplemental documentation. Here is a report to look at. When they're questioning witnesses, if they use supplemental documents or records or phone records or videos or any of the things that we would think of as evidence, that doesn't go into a grand jury transcript. It's the question and the answer, and it can be narrow, more narrow than the number of witnesses overall. So it is a slice of what is commonly thought of as the Epstein files. There's also the issue of this is typically secret material because it is done for investigative purposes. It may raise names who are never drawn into any kind of charges. It may refer to victims in this case, all who have a right to have their privacy protected. So it's not a foregone conclusion that a judge would release this material. But this is a step in the process that the Department of Justice in the Trump administration can take to perhaps quiet some of the concerns of the MAGA base.
Overnight, President Trump calling for his attorney general to release more details in the Epstein case. Trump posted on Truth Social saying, quote, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I've asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. Bondi quickly responding, saying, quote, President Trump, we're ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts.
He's been very clear that he wants all credible information, credible evidence to be turned over to the people so that the people can decide.
The announcement, which came hours after Trump said there would be no special counsel for the case, appeared to be in response to growing calls for transparency. For the second time this week, House Republicans voted down a Democratic procedural move to force the release of the Epstein files, even as they advanced their own resolution that calls for the release of the documents. But the resolution is non-binding. Critics, like Republican Thomas Massie of Kentucky, slamming the move, saying, Congress thinks you're stupid. The Rules Committee passed a non-binding Epstein resolution, hoping folks will accept it as real. It forces the release of nothing. The deep divides over transparency and loyalty to Trump now spilling into full view. On Capitol Hill, the debate over releasing the files turned hostile as Democratic and Republican lawmakers clashed over claims that releasing additional information could be harmful to the victims.
We know who you are, Mr.
You're the party of child victims. That's why you opened the border.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk, one of Trump's most vocal critics lately, flooded social media with claims of a cover-up, retweeting and replying to dozens of posts about the case on Thursday. All of this as new questions swirl about the president's health. Recent images showing Trump's hands bruised and legs swollen. A new memo from the White House doctor revealing Trump is suffering from chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition that is common in elderly patients.
Essentially, this is a problem with the blood vessels, more specifically a problem with the veins that are in charge of returning blood back to the heart.
The doctor also claiming that the bruising on Trump's hands, which he has been covering with makeup, is from, quote, frequent handshaking and taking aspirin.
Now, back to the release of the grand jury testimony. The White House is expected to file the motion today, but the decision is ultimately up to the judge. Legal experts say the chances of the material being released in full are extremely slim.
Scandal. It might be his most effective launch. Written by Jack Oman. This article is being read by an automated voice, generated by Everlit. In death, the late accused sex trafficker and money man Jeffrey Epstein is causing his closest friend, President Donald Trump, more problems than he did before he passed away in a New York prison cell in 2019. It's ironic, or some might call it just deserts, that a conspiracy theory pushed by his supporters about Epstein's purported client list now threatens to engulf the second Trump administration. Trump, after all, built his entire political career spreading metastasizing conspiracy theories into the American body politic. Recall the Obama birth certificate slander. Of course, Trump's encouragement of paranoid fringe groups like QAnon, which were not focused on their belief that the late John F. Kennedy Jr. is the president of the United States in exile, helped spread lies about pedophiles working out of a D.C. pizza parlor. The ignition point of this story, however, can be credited to another former Trump friend, Elon Musk. Furious over the president's deficit-swelling budget, Musk took to X and let fly with a haymaker. Time to drop the really big bomb. At Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. He wrote on the platform whose AI chatbot can't seem to stop spewing anti-Semitic garbage. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Musk later deleted the tweet, but has since poured more gasoline on the fire that ensued after Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI tried to assure the country there was no Epstein client list and that it was time for the conspiracy theorists to shut up. Just release the files as promised, Musk wrote in a post over the weekend. It's hard to know whom to root for in a spat between loathsome characters. The problem for Trump is that any sentient American knows that he had a special relationship with Epstein and his longtime girlfriend/pimp, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year sentence for procuring underage girls on Epstein's behalf. Of Epstein, Trump said that I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. And there's video of Epstein enjoying it alongside Trump as the two ogled young women on a Mar-a-Lago dance floor in 1992. As for Maxwell, Trump even told Axios' Jonathan Swan that her friend or boyfriend was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. She was proven guilty, for the record. Trump said on Tuesday that I don't understand it, why they would be so interested. He's been dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest and what the fascination is. I really don't. This is an unusual assertion by Trump, who would be utterly fascinated if Joe Biden or his family were involved. Epstein, it should be noted, died during the first Trump administration. Nothing to see here. Folks, move along. Perhaps the fascination with Epstein's death stems from the revelation that there appears to be a 3-minute gap in the surveillance video of Epstein's jail cell. No doubt, conspiracy-curious members of the Trump administration have also played a part in inflaming the story. So did members of Team Trump. FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino made a point of keeping the Epstein conspiracy speculation alive before their appointments, and Bongino apparently threatened to resign over Bondi's handling of the case. Or perhaps the reason Epstein now haunts the president stems from the Trump family itself. In a 2024 social media post, Donald Trump Jr. quipped that he kept hearing about some of the Jeffrey Epstein clients' names being released today, but I'd be willing to bet that something happens between now and then that prevents those names from ever coming out. The Trump administration itself also made a big show of January's release of Part 1 of the Epstein files, setting off initial paroxysms of glee in the MAGA media community that quickly turned to groans after the dump turned out to be one big nothing burger. As Musk has continued to add rocket fuel to the Epstein story, some parts of Trump world seem to be realizing they have a problem on their hands. While the House of Representatives narrowly put down a vote Wednesday to force Trump to release the Epstein files, Speaker Mike Johnson strongly signaled that might not be enough to satisfy the GOP's conspiracy theorist wing. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody, Johnson said after the vote. Trump also inched closer to throwing Bondi under the bus. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release, he said Wednesday of his AG. As Trump squirms in the face of something he cannot explain away to a base that still believes him largely infallible, the Epstein story poses perhaps the first real test of his second term. On Thursday, with the story continuing to simmer, Trump called it a scam and a hoax cooked up by Democrats, and he also decried his supporters as weaklings for falling prey to it. Presumably, that would include Trump's former national security advisor, former General Michael Flynn, that paragon of conspiracy theorist candor, who on Saturday weighed in on social media, "At Real Donald Trump, please understand the Epstein affair is not going away." Jack Oman is a Pulitzer Prize-winning editorial cartoonist and columnist who also writes that.
Reading out of the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24, and it reads, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" First, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rokah, Kudash. Double honors to mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep, the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness and sincerity. Again, I'm going to say shalom. It's your brother Yahusai coming at you on a video. And I'm going to get straight to the point. If you check out the news, Salakia, over the week, you had this drama, okay, about the Epstein files. Now, the president-elect, he was the one that put himself on point and decided he would expose the files. And apparently, lawmakers on both the Democratic and the Republican Party has found some very disturbing data within those files. And now Trump trying to backpedal, because if it's found out, and I don't think this Congress with these fraudulent lawmakers, I want to say 99.99% of the United States Congress, this DOJ, and its court system is the most corrupt thing this universe will ever know, okay? It'll be a shocking surprise if they open that file up and discover the severities of the trafficking that was involved regarding the Epstein file, okay? We know the reports passed. It was alleged elites, okay, trafficking young kids on Epstein Island, okay? Even Elon Musk, he had posts on X some data regarding it, okay? Remember Elon Musk, he was a former DOJ worker. He had a short run, then him and the president-elect had a fall off, okay? But he has a lot of data. Apparently he started his own party. That's if we're around. I personally don't believe America's going to get beyond 2026, but that's neither here nor there. That's okay. Only the Lord knows, okay, when this great day of judgment is going to happen. But of course, in 2026, that's 250 in America. Okay, America is an extension of Rome, and no kingdom has ever made it beyond 250. But to the point, I didn't mean to go off. Donald Trump is doing everything under the sun to keep the files away from the public. And check it out. It's a big if, okay? If it's exposed, he's more than likely. He is more likely to be locked away forever on this one, okay? This is why the Israelites teach, especially brown people of the diaspora, excuse me, don't trust this government, okay? I mean, look how I'm gonna push this a bit more. 99.99% of lawmakers call brown people black. And you can't find that in the scriptures because it's a cover. Like the elder, shout out to that mighty elder in Chicago, okay? The elder always tell us, he's an elder from a GMS camp, Chicago, mighty brother. I believe that's Elder Malachi. He's one of the greatest elders ever in the community, straight up. The whole black is a social construct to hide God's true people. And it's also a form of hatred on brown people to label us a color of a Creole or crown box, knowing damn well there's no such thing as the land of black, there's no language of black, and there's no nationality called black, okay? But this Epstein episode is going out of control. Now there's heavy, I think there's some type of legislation being pushed in D.C. to forward the, not the little temporary files that they somewhat slack here, not the files that's up, but they want the entirety of the files, the names, to be revealed, okay? And you look at this attorney general, like I said, Job 9:24. Because if it's discovered, I'm gonna go here. I hope I don't get in trouble. Something real serious could happen to this country regarding this. You know how many names gonna surface? I'm gonna try to locate what what Elon Musk posted regarding it, okay? I want to post it. I want to say fair use, but with YouTube, every time I put fair use, they copyright the damn work anyways, okay? But I'm going to try to post that fair use, if that even means anything with YouTube now. But it's a hot topic. And mind you, all this is happening in the heat of World War III. Remember, it's been close to a month. America bombed Iran. They bombed 3 empty nuclear facilities. Didn't hit a damn thing. Okay. And I did that video already. Based on what they hit, I mean, that's just a total embarrassment by this administration. But you have that. You have conflicts. You also have conflicts in Africa. I think it's Guinea Faso, North Korea, and you have a lot of BRIC members making moves to push out France, the Israelis, the Americas, all the elites that have shot in Africa. It's a lot of momentum there. Okay, it's a lot of back and forth with the BRICS versus I don't want to say NATO, but the elite powers that be, because they're losing. They're on the brink of losing their hegemony, okay? And they're gonna go out with a bang. And yes, they want a nuclear war for money, but you know, the Most High gonna confound them on that great day when the trumpet sound. But I just want to address the whole Trump Epstein thing, because that's a big topic. It would be calmer for him to get arrested this time, considering how ICE keep detaining brown people for the most part. Okay, it's the truth. So-called white people never changed. They have a perpetual hatred on God's chosen people, and they prove it all the time. And then when we bring it, they get upset. I get unsubs for it, and I don't care. The truth is the truth, you know. But let's get some scriptures, and I'm gonna wind this down. This is gonna be a short video. Let's get Ezekiel 35:5, okay? Let's get Ezekiel 35:5. And it reads, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and in the time that their iniquity had ended. Okay, they have a perpetual hatred on God's chosen people. And this is really going into the people of diaspora, the scattered 12 tribes of the children of Israel, okay? The Israelites, it's prophesied for the Israelites to get salvation on this coming doomsday. Because at some point, Revelation 17 has to play out. Let me see if there's an account I want to read, if I could get it in Amos before I end this video. Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad. Shalom, shalom. Let me find Amos real quick. But stay up on this news. Stay up on these global conflicts, and you know, brothers and sisters, this is general. Israelites gotta have more love for each other, okay? But I'll do a separate video about the conflicts in Israel and this outright hatred, but that's a topic for another day. Let's see, Amos. Let me see if I can get one moment. I want Amos. It was an account where Edom, the Lord basically was going into how Edom broke the brotherly covenant. I don't know if it's Amos. It could be another account. But I was just trying to pull that to, show. Here it is. I think it's Amos 2. Shalakia. It says, thus said the Lord, I want, maybe it's the 8th verse. Because Edom, they broke the brotherly covenant. And there it is. It's Amos 1 and verse 11. My apologies. Amos 1 and verse 11, and it reads, for thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishments. Therefore, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever, okay? Because when you go into the history of Jacob and Esau, okay, those are the big players of the Bible. Edom went above and beyond to punish his younger brother Jacob. I'm going to read that again, okay? And racism, white supremacy, they show it all the time, especially here in America and in Europe and other places abroad, but chiefly in America. Read that again. Amos 1 and 11. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishments thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. And in return, the Most High of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is going to burn the United States. He's going to blow this land off the map, man. He's going to do it by way of thermonuclear destruction. Okay, that's going to be the great punishment on this land for stealing the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, for continuing to treat people of color, chiefly the Israelites, like just filthy rags, a people of no value. Okay, they treat us like we're the worst things in the universe, and it's God Almighty, by way of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh. He's going to punish America severely for this ongoing hatred on people of color. And that's why the Lord is judging America right now. Okay? Let's see if there's any more now. Verse 12, it reads, but I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the places of Basra. And Basra is another name for Babylon the Great, the United States of America. Okay? Isaiah 34. Isaiah 30. Let's try Isaiah. I'm all winding down. Israel, stay up in this truth, stay up in these world conflicts, because at some point the nations are going to they're going to turn on America and Israel. And that stage is set. That stage is already set, especially after those bombs dropped on Iran. Okay, rumors has it Pakistan buying thermonuclear weapons. Breaking. I'm going to try to post it if I can find it, if my notification's showing. China has a new thermonuclear weapon. It's called the D5. Okay, I believe they tested it recently. And they're going to shoot along with Russia and all the nations when they just give up the ghost with Babylon the Great and Babylon the Great in the Middle East. China has a new nuclear weapon called the D5, a stealth nuclear missile, and they're gonna burn this place away. Very soon, going into that judgment. I forgot about that. China has a new stealth weapon called the D5. It's like, I heard it's equivalent to the Satan 1 and the Satan 2. And it's a stealth nuclear missile. So America days is numbered. Only 5 months to go before this 250 kick in. And their so-called new year. We know the new year is really in March into April. Month of Bib starts around that time, not in the cold of winter. But 250 under this Gregorian calendar, January 1st, 2026. And it's already heating up on this warfield, this battlefield. Isaiah 34, and I want verse 2. It says, for the indignation of the Most High is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter. That's future context. That's going to happen on the day of the Lord. That will be Joel, the 3rd chapter. I want, let me see. Maybe I want verse 5. Let me see. There it is. Verse 6, Isaiah 34 and 6. I'll start at verse 5 for context. It says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. And that's a link up to that Amos 1, I believe that's 13. How the Lord is coming to destroy the children of Edom. Okay. Read that again. Isaiah 34 and verse 5 from the top. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. It didn't say an individual. It said people. Okay. And that's not Japheth that control America and America in the Middle East. Those are the children of Edom. Okay. Verse 6. The sword of the Most High is filled with blood. Slakia. Isaiah 34 and 12. The sword of the Lord is with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with blood of lambs, goats, with the fat of kidney of rams. For the Lord had a sacrifice in Basra and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. That's also dealing with America. Okay. And it's gotta be that time. Almost. It didn't happen yet. But again, after the bombings on Iran, you gotta consider how severe that was. The rest of the nations, you know, when you go into how this World War III cranked up, the Iranians tried to negotiate, and it was the United States of America and the Israelis that decided to kill up to 3 or 4 Iranian leaders. And, you know, when you look at this administration, that's why the Epstein thing is very important. You have an administration that's not even credible. And if you can't see by not an elite powers to be, not behind the strings or the puppet masters, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, they've always been doing these suspect activity behind closed doors, except now the world can see how evil America is, dealing with foreign diplomats, and you can forget it with their own citizens. See, if there's any more, and I'm gonna see if I could end this video. I want to get, can I get Malachi? I'm going to end it in Malachi. That's it. I'm going to end this video in Malachi. Once I get it. One moment. Keep the commandments, Israel. Just keep the commandments. Times are difficult, but hang in there. This judgment day is coming warp speed, fam. It's coming at warp speed. You just gotta hold on. Malachi 4:1. We're going to hear. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day cometh shall burn them up, said the Most High of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. So when these big sarmats begin to hit the United States of America and all its cities, there will be no more America. Okay? The Lord tell you in Revelation, the 18th chapter, it's going to burn away in 1 hour. Okay? 1 hour, Slakia. So there will be no more America. There will be no more Canada. There will be no more Mexico. There will be no more islands. And there probably won't be a portion of Latin America. That's all going to be blown to hell. Okay? Let me see if there's any more. I'm going to read it again. Malachi 4:1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, said the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Okay? We're going to that. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders, everyone walking in this truth and humbleness, sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. We got next. Shalom.